This is my sort of, I'm a bit of a night owl anyway, so this is a good time for me to be chatting and talking about films. And
You're speaking to two night owls, so
yes, well, this is going to be wonderful then. Of the competition selection, it's got some very strong buzz with the jury. We've got 9 people that watch these films, and they've watched them all. We can't say too much about it, but this one was popular and spoken of quite highly.
that's
So,
wonderful.
congratulations on that. It's a good bit of feedback.
Thank you.
I love all the joy that's just emitting from all of us at this.
Yeah,
Um,
but
cool.
I think it's relatable in many ways. I have a question about that a little bit later, but just to begin with, I suppose, love of film, like where does it come from? Is it childhood? Is it a specific film? Was there specific actors as you grew up? Was it moments in your life? Where does the love of film come from?
For me, it's childhood, absolutely. Specifically inherited from probably my stepfather at the time, who, um, yeah, introduced me to film. Cara?
Yeah, for me it's childhood as well. I mean, both my parents love film, but every Sunday my dad would come and take me to the cinema.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I suppose then the next stage is you get into the filmmaking field. How did you get into the filmmaking? When did you decide, oh, that's what I would like to do? And how did you get where you are today making short films?
Well, Shari and I met at university and we did lots of theatre, and that was our main thread. And then I then trained as an actor, and Shari went off and did screenwriting. So it's just, I think, like took separate paths and then found filmmaking at quite a similar moment.
Yeah.
Just everything seems to make sense. It's a nice puzzle. I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, Cara got it right. I did screenwriting, but I think that my whole life I spent kind of trying to not get into filmmaking, if I'm totally honest. I was like, there has to be something else I can do and something else that I'm good at. And um, yeah, life is a circle, and I went into filmmaking. So yeah, against my best wishes, probably.
Well, you're doing pretty well at it so far, I would say, from what I've seen. Um, as the festival is like showcasing women filmmakers, then I suppose I have to ask about if you've had any kind of resistance as females in this industry. And also, do you have any like your proudest achievements, things you've achieved so far?
In terms of resistance, I mean, I would just say that it's a palpable feeling when you walk onto a set and you're surrounded mainly by men. When there's obviously nothing wrong with it, but it just highlights like the reduced opportunity for women in film. So even if I haven't necessarily encountered that on a personal level, it's something that's quite present, I would say.
I'll answer the latter part. Proudest achievement, probably getting to write a script for like a major network in America where the lead was a Black woman, which wasn't very popular on that channel before. So that was great and wonderful, and I'm really proud of that. Um, but yeah, it's kind of what Cara said. It's pretty disappointing to say this, but our film, Mole, had the most women that I've gotten to work with on a set still to this day. So
Yeah, me too.
What Cara is saying is completely correct, unfortunately. Yeah.
And it's just like the opportunities, it just goes right down to the nexus of women deciding what to do with their lives. So yeah, it just highlights a much, much larger problem. And it's just like encouraging younger filmmakers to come on sets and like apprentice and help out and da da da. So it demonstrates that it is possible. If you want to go into sound, you can go into sound. I know only probably about 3 women in sound, which is bonkers.
The fact that you know three is
I know,
astounding.
actually, it's recent.
Sound seems to be the last frontier
Yeah,
for whatever reason
yeah,
in my experience,
I
but
couldn't
yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And in terms of achievement, my last short film, Fish, premiered at BFI Flair, which was amazing. That
Superb.
was the best week of my life.
Oh, that's amazing. Um, so the short film More, then I suppose it leads on to this quite nicely. How was it conceived? How did you get it off the ground? And just talk a bit about your particular roles, including Molly's, I suppose, and how you three collaborated, because obviously you all did slightly different things. But yeah, so tell me a little bit how you conceived the film and how you worked together.
So I knew Molly at drama school, Oxford School of Drama, and she approached me because she knew I wrote. She approached me to co-write Mole, and then we developed it, and I asked Shari if she wanted to direct it, and here we are. And then in terms of producing it, we all ended up because it was the first film that we'd done independently. We were all sort of working out what we were doing as we went, and we all ended up producing in different capacities. Hence
Right.
the many forward slashes of our roles. But that tends to be the case with like grassroots filmmaking. You're scrambling to work out what to do and how to pull resources together. So you end up like having merged roles, which is quite fun,
Yeah.
I think at least.
Yeah, I don't know why Cara thought of me, to be honest, but I
I
think
know I know why.
well, I don't, but you can tell me later. But yeah, I think it was because what had happened? Cara had sent me the first script she had written, and I had read that, and I think it was that Mole was the next script because you had met Molly,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the second script, yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, Shari loves dark comedy as much as I do. She's my little dark comedy demon. So I was like, there is only one woman who could do this.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I should have
Um,
asked that as a question. That should have been one of my questions, shouldn't it? That was good. That was good. I like that. Shari, I'll ask you a question as a director then.
okay.
Like, what's your vision of the story? But also, like, how do you work with actors, in particular Molly, who was such a strong central performance? She's given quite a lot to do. How did you? I know you'll probably say it was all her, but you must have helped bring that performance to life. What was your vision with that? And she was in every single frame, pretty much.
I know. I know. I know. I really was thinking about that. Very true. Okay, my my vision with the film, because it's two questions, I'll answer that one first. Basically, when I got the script, because everything for me revolves around the script. Also, I am a screenwriter, so I really, really do put a lot of weight on the script. It's very useful. It's a great tool. So obviously in the story, what really stood out to me at first was the emphasis on, or maybe there wasn't an emphasis at first, but the clothing aspect of everything.
Yeah.
And, through conversation with Cara, we really started to emphasize that as what was unique to Mole's story was the ever-changing wardrobe as we can imagine, um, and what that means for her ever-changing identity, and how parasitic that is in her. And so I think that with that twist at the end and recognizing that, okay, maybe she's done this before, maybe she does this continuously, I was like, how can every part of the film now serve this story, which is why the credits are at the beginning. Maybe that's the ending of when she was somebody else or pretending to be somebody else before. And now we're watching this iteration, and we can imagine that there's a next sequel, if you will, of Mole in a new identity. And there's little Easter eggs in there that we've put in. I was also in charge of the wardrobe, so costume. So like Kara's character, Jen, we made her dress in pink and have a leopard coat on the chair, etc. So we can kind of see that, oh, this version of Mole perhaps came from Jen. And so there's like little Easter eggs and things like that that I really wanted to be, I mean, that was part of my vision. But it sounds, I'm sure that every filmmaker has this or every director has this, but the most important scene for me, interestingly, was how we were going to navigate and execute the bedroom scene. We only had one take because of how that demolition of the room happens. We wouldn't have time in our shoot to reset the room. So that was probably the part with Molly that I worked on the most. She had like come around to my place for rehearsals for that, how we were going to like, it was choreography at the end of the day, choreography of how she was going to navigate the heap of clothes on the bed, what she was going to pull, da 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 da. So there was like a choreography to that scene that then when we were on set, I was like, you have one time to get this. No pressure. But I also knew, I think the way that I was working is I knew what I wanted the cut to look like. So for me, that's also really important. Just as important as the script is, I think I just knew what I wanted the edit to be. So I knew it wasn't going to be, I knew it was going to be jump cuts. So we had that advantage of it didn't have to be seamless, movie magic. But yeah, I think that that scene really for me was important because it sets the tone. It's like, it's our break into two. It's the end of Act One, our break into two, where the story is going. And yeah, and just using the wardrobe as much as possible in our opening as well in our credits. She's in different outfits at
Yeah.
these parties. We were just trying to tell a lot of story through clothing very early on. And then even at the end in the date sequence, you may not notice she's in a different outfit each time in her very muted, her mother's wardrobe, like things like that. So I think wardrobe ended up being really important for the character and just the vision as a whole, in telling as much story as possible in a short. And Molly, it was all Molly. I know that's not the answer you want. I think, it was a 4-day shoot. It was really quick and had so many locations. And we
So
worked with
sorry.
Flower. I know. We cut some locations.
I know we did.
We cut some locations, but like we had to work with a baby, we had to work with fire, we had to work night shoot, day shoot. Like there was a lot for our first short film, I
Yeah,
think as a team, like
bonkers.
there's a lot to do. And in a lot of difficult like situations that we were trying to work out, etc. So I think that whenever I could, the biggest thing on set is like being kind to everyone, making sure everyone feels comfortable, especially when you're with a small enough like crew, small enough cast. That was like I just knew going in, make sure everyone feels comfortable, everyone's like as content as they can be. And whenever I had the time, it was just I was with Molly because you're right, she is basically always on camera. She's always in the next scene. So there were so few moments when I could like pull her aside. And I knew what those moments where I would need to pull her aside would be most crucial, like before the bathroom scene. Again, I don't know how much you remember from the film, but like that
I
Lou scene,
remember.
it's
Yeah.
very blue. But that scene, like I was like, hey, this is going to be very emotional. It's the only time we can maybe develop some sort of I was about to say pity for Mole, but like sympathy
Yeah.
for her. And it's when she's the most vulnerable, and maybe we go, okay, she's a person. And so before that kind of, debriefing, talking, getting her into that state, and then she does the work of an actress of like pulling together, okay, parts from her life. Like, she was just talking to me about
Yeah.
some things. And so it did get very personal in moments like that. And I think that comes out hopefully in the final product. Um, but yeah, I think it's funny because the pacing of like Act Two, Act Three, it ends up going so quickly through the story, and there's more scenes where it just runs how a scene should, the cafe scene, the fire scene, these
Yeah.
dialogues. But the beginning was really just Molly performing, a lot of Molly just acting, going through movement, hardly talking, hardly in dialogue with the audience, but more so with herself. So I think that is all owed to Molly entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, but even without dialogue, you still see at the beginning her transitioning from like party to coming down and then upset and then being at work and being like almost like it's almost like she was cold turkey in a way. It was a bit like that. So yeah, she did need dialogue. That's what's so impressive about the performance, I think, and obviously your direction as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, Cara, a question for you then, I suppose, given the amount of roles you have on this project, is there a specific role that you lean towards that's like that this is what I am more than anything else? And how do you switch in from one role to another? Is there any difficulties in that?
Um, I was a writer actor who's accidentally producing, but and I thought I'd hate it, but I really, really don't. As I said, I enjoy puzzles, so it's watching everything slot into place, which is so satisfying. And the thing I really enjoy about switching over different roles is being able to work with different departments and work with different people. And I'm a sucker for people. It's just being able to be around that on a film set in whatever capacity is just utterly joyous. And switching between role, I mean, to be honest, they're so segmented. Like you, once you've written the script, like Shari and I developed it, then it's Shari's baby, and then I go off and like as a three, we try and make it happen and get through production. There was one moment where Shari was like, "Can we cut this line?" And I said no, and that was the one moment I was a writer on set. The rest of it, I was a producer. And then when I was acting, Shari was more of a producer in that moment, and it was just like that's what made it a beautiful kind of little machine for those 4 days. Was that we take care of each other and balance it out. So I never found it difficult because there was a support system there.
Good, good. We've touched on it really, but I think just with some of the jury and some of the people that have watched it, the standout editing, music, and sound, I think are three things that other than the acting is what stands out. How did you acquire those talents? I mean, you mentioned the opening credits. It was really excellent because not only do you use different fonts
The
and everything, but
fonts.
every cut, and it does signify like almost like a year in the life of someone partying. So you did that in such a short space of time, so it was really excellent. But then it was consistently editing the music and the sound. Sometimes I didn't know if it was a sound or music, especially when she was at the office. How did you acquire those talents?
Shari.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for noticing, Robin. I had such a talented crew. I love talking about my crew. No, they're just really talented, and come from varying backgrounds, which I just think is what makes Mole what it is. Our crew is also like, our color grader was Polish. Uh, Jacob is American, based in LA, so the composer. Um, Asla, Turkish, but based in London. And like we just have like such a different, like like it was great, really great working with everyone. Um, but I think, okay, editing, yeah, Asla is like the queen. I'm so grateful for her. I'm so grateful for her applying all my notes. I'm just like dealing with me and my like very specific vision for this, and just being truly on, and Cara, bless you, for being on board with my vision for those credits. No one understood what I wanted, until then hopefully they saw it and they're like, actually, this is great.
It's honestly genius. I love it. It's my
I
favorite
was
part of the film.
really was really happy, and I think it's just because, okay, how many, Robin, come on, like how many films have you seen start with like a party sequence, you know? So in a short, I was kind of like, how can we make our film start with the bang we want it to, because we have to be on the same high as Mole. Mole as a character is riding this high, right? She thinks anyway. But she's at these parties where she doesn't know anyone, and yet it's like the same crew every week that you think she's going to these parties. So it's like, but she's riding a high, so we have to be there with her. So I was like, how can we make this unique? Um, how can it showcase like the wardrobe? How can it showcase all these things? How can it work with these jump cuts? So really for me, it was the graphics, which our editor's husband helped bring to life, but he doesn't want to be mentioned. I'm so sorry. But he was wonderful. They worked together on those. We did it like over the course of 2 days while I was based in LA, and we just kind of like went back and forth. I picked all the fonts that I wanted, all this stuff. And I do think it gives each person who's part of the film their own little, I don't know, it just like felt really good making those credits and lining it up with the music. So the music was done before the credit sequence was done. So we were kind of operating with the music already in place. So, and that was Jacob who scored that. So all of the music in the credit sequence is him as well. And then I knew, oh, music wise, like I knew I wanted a very like, how can I even say this? What was I was kind of calling it like a very punk girl rock anthem for the bedroom scene. I was kind of
Yeah.
inspired by, if you've ever seen the film Reprise, it's like an early 2000s film by,
Mm.
anyway, if you've ever seen Worst Person in the World, same filmmaker. Um,
Oh, right. Oh, I have seen it. Yes.
oh, okay. So
Yeah.
Reprise
Yeah.
uses like a La Tigre song, and it's just great. So I was kind of inspired by that. I mean, there's so many inspirations. Again, it's like how much time do you have? But I was also, so that was the inspiration for the bedroom scene. Jacob wrote that song, and then we got a wonderful vocalist to bring it to life. And yeah, the music alone I could go into, but then the score, I was really inspired by things like, and I had the playlist for Mole, like even while we were shooting, I had it in my head. I knew what the sound of Mole would be. If you've seen Shiva Baby, just the anxiety produced through that score, I thought was so powerful. And Mole is a very anxious character. What is she other than that?
Yeah.
She doesn't know who she is. She's struggling to figure that out. And I think as well of, now this one's a bit odd, but it goes with our dark comedy, the dark comedy of the script Cara wrote, right? So I was kind of inspired by It Follows, if you've ever seen that film
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. The score in that
Yeah.
also just has this, I mean, it's thriller, it's scary, it's a very horrifying score, but take it out of its context, there is an anxiety, right? Anticipation, it really
Yeah.
builds that up. And so elements from those wonderful scores in those two films specifically, I think helped Jacob and I craft the sound of Mole. Also, let's be real, Mole is an animal. It is an animal, we all know. And so I think when you're talking about sound design as well, and how you didn't know if it was score or sound design,
Yeah.
um, there are parts of there are parts that maybe sound like sound design, but it was score. It's it's like a small scratching animal type scratching sound that sometimes crescendos in a moment, like The Office.
Yeah.
But then there's sound design when she's having her panic attack. That was our sound designer, Kelsey, who was incredible to work with and just so on it. And I hardly had to explain anything to Kel. He just got it. Like he would take the note and he just really understood. He was able to add so many of the sounds we weren't able to get during our shoot. Really, I think there was like such, I don't know if Cara agrees, but with sound in any film, sound and music makes such a difference. That first watch, when you get back the sound design or when you get the score kind of in place, you're like, ooh, this is really starting to feel all the things you felt when making it, because you're picturing it with all of the, it's just the language of filmmaking. It's just like a glorious thing when it all comes together. So it was all of that was happening at the same time. There was a lot of correspondence between specifically the sound designer, composer, and our editor. That was all kind of coming together at the same
It's
time.
very evident as well, definitely. We mentioned It Follows. It's a really great example because that borders on noise, but also there's a film Ex Machina. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes,
The
yes.
score in that, if you listen, whenever Ava's on camera, there's almost like a heartbeat. You have to like have headphones on to hear it. So the sound scope in that is absolutely ridiculous. So there's a score, but then there's like a
Yeah.
as she's it's
Mhm.
amazing. You have to have headphones on to hear it, but it reminded me of that as well. That
Mhm.
what you can
Is it
you mentioned
really low?
anxiety.
Is it really low in that?
Yeah, yeah,
See, I think that's like, that's what I wanted, and that's like beautiful. I love that. I
yeah.
have to watch Ex Machina. I don't know why that didn't, yeah, I was really just thinking of,
Spider.
yeah, I don't know why Disaster Piece, is that their name?
Disaster
But the,
piece. Yeah.
yeah, Disaster Piece was really just, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because It Follows scared me, so it stayed with me more than Ex Machina or other things I've watched.
Yeah, I think it's more
But yeah,
scary than disaster.
yeah,
Yeah, disaster piece is more. It's meant to get under in your blood, isn't it? I think that's
yeah,
part of it.
yeah,
You take that
yeah.
away, the film's not as scary, is it? So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So it was fun. It was fun creating different sounds for
yeah,
the score changes when we're introduced to her mother.
yeah.
different, it's a different piece of music we're starting to use. And then the end is really that that underbelly that you're hearing coming back and just like eating, eating
Yeah.
that. And it's this tiny little crescendo at the end in that fire scene with the music that I just love. Yeah, so it's cool.
Yeah. I'm definitely
Like
sorry, go on, Karen.
hearing Shari talk about the correspondence of like navigating the different departments and the language that you'd all established together. Was it the scrunchies?
I
The
think
wub wubs as well? Like,
they were called that. And it's funny because some people who were like, was it our DP Jackie? She'd heard it. She's like, by the way, there's like a reverb or
oh, she
something.
did, yeah.
And I was like, no, 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 that's meant to
Couldn't do
be,
that.
that's meant to be the we know, we hear it. I hope you can hear it. Yeah.
No, it was
So
just like the total immersion of all of these departments in this like shared language. It was like everyone is really invested in this. It
yeah,
was beautiful
yeah,
to like, yeah,
yeah.
witness.
Yeah, love it. What I thought about this is more a shout out to young troubled women like Molly, or is it could it be for any age and any gender? Do you think this is relatable? I'm in my 40s and I'm a man, but I've related to that anxiety in those different stages. I don't have as good a wardrobe, I will admit, but yeah, would you say it speaks to everybody to some extent?
I
God.
I think to an extent, yeah, but when we entered into this, it was very much the mindset of women of any age, of like trying to fit in within society and not knowing where your place is, and then always being told that you're supposed to fit in one box or the other, and you can't be fluid between them, and which is why we wanted her to oscillate between extremes. So the ending was really, really crucial in terms of we needed to see her rejection of this persona that she'd created over the course of the 13 minutes. Is it 13 minutes? I think it's 13 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
Um,
Thank
okay, good.
I thought you said 30 at first, and I was like, Cara.
Like I haven't
No
lost my
one wants to
story.
no one wants to be with Mole for 30
No, I
minutes.
really don't. Yeah, so like the burning was an important moment of her shedding that to go completely to the opposite, and yet she has messed up again in her mum's eyes, and you can see it in that flicker. And it was really important for us to show that women find it really difficult to place themselves, and obviously not to that extent
Yeah.
within every situation, but I felt that, especially in your 20s, where you're like, I don't know who I am, I don't know what skin I'm wearing, and that person's wearing that piece of clothing, and that makes them appear in one way, but they're probably going through the same crisis. But I'm really glad that you related to it on some level, and maybe we could look into your wardrobe.
Well, it's not as good as I said, but yeah. And just on what you mentioned, there's my next question, which is like drama comedy. Like Milos Forman used to do it really well. I don't know if you know him. Amadeus, one from The Cuckoo's Nest. A filmmaker that can, you blend comedy and drama in this so much because there's a really important dramatic message in the film, but also it is funny. The one bit that made me particularly laugh was when she's doing the dating, and I did notice the costume changes. The one where she's laughing, and you think, yay, she's found someone, and then he says something like, I really like quirky girls, and she's like, no. That comedy timing was absolutely brilliant. I laughed me it off. How do
Good.
you blend the drama and the comedy like that with an important message, but you make it relatable and funny at the same time?
Why I don't think one can exist without the other. So that's my standpoint. Um, and I, in my experience, oftentimes when you're at your lowest, that is when you are at your funniest, or the comedy appears, the irony appears, because it's never, well, can be one thing, but largely speaking, they have to coexist because life is messy, life is textured. And so when writing it and when talking to Shari, that was something that I really wanted to emphasize throughout this. So even when she's in the depths of despair, there's still something like jarring or ironic for the audience, because I wanted them to enjoy it and be confused while they were enjoying watching this woman have a breakdown.
Yeah, so true.
Shari.
No, I think that's brilliantly answered. I think that is,
Okay.
yeah, I agree. I always say, well, light can't exist without dark. You can't see one without the other. We're not operating only here through life. We there needs to be variance. There needs to be variety something dynamic pulling us this way, that way. And I think Cara and I'm like smiling and laughing as Cara's answering, because I think that truly our friendship has just been one big tragic comedy. Like it's just
it continues to be. So I call it crying, then we're hysterically laughing. Like, you know,
they're just undulating force. We're in the force of both, and in the grapple of both. And I think it's done brilliantly. And I also just want to say that the actors during the dating scenes really bring that. They just did so well with their one lines, you know, like they just so it's in the writing, and absolutely they delivered in their performances.
Yeah, we were very lucky with the actors we had.
Very lucky, very lucky.
Yeah, they were funny. It was funny. I like that scene. That was another snippy edited scene as well, and that told her that it was just not all in one day. It was all she's trying, and this isn't working. Really looking forward to seeing people's reactions to this, because I think, like you say, relatable is the big word. But beyond that, what do you have plans next, both of you? I'm assuming you'll work together again. Do you have anything coming up that you can tell us about?
I have a short, I mean, I'm going to hound Shari to work with me again, but the next thing, I've written a script called Full Fat, which Louisa Connolly Burnham, director of Sister Wives, is attached to direct.
Oh,
yeah, which is about how straight women sometimes use their queer friends for experimentation. Yeah, I'm excited. So we're due to shoot in October, November. Shari?
Cool. Very cool. I'm back to just writing right now after experimenting with directing. So I'm just writing my next samples and preparing to move back to London. So yeah.
wow. Thank you very much. Congratulations on the film. Hopefully we'll speak again.
Oh, cool.
There's loads, and I'm going to encourage people to watch this, you know, as well. So really great speaking to you both.
Great. Well, thank you so much for meeting us.
Thank you.
It was nice to meet you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much indeed.
Bye.
Bye for now.